What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it is official. Meta has just fired 11,000 employees, just 1,000 under the predicted amounts. And it's a lot of unemployed people in Silicon Valley right now. Between that and the 4,000 or so or whatever from Twitter, that's 15,000 employees fired in the last 7 days in big tech. I'm sure that, Twitter, for example, seemed more uniformly focused and hyper partisan. I don't know if that much is true about Facebook employees in particular, but I do know that Facebook itself was a tool for the left, a tool to control conversations, a tool that young people aren't using anymore. They're losing billions of dollars. And Mark Zuckerberg takes full blame for it. In fact, somebody actually sent me the video of the firings. I don't know if I can even show that or not. I've got to ask Half Asian Super Lawyer Bill if I can publish that. But here, I got this wrong. Meta will let go 11,000 employees. It's one of the biggest tech layoffs this year as Facebook parent battles soaring costs and weak advertising market. CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, appeared gloomy after discussing the cuts with executives in a meeting Tuesday. The broad job cuts follow thousands of layoffs in other major tech companies, including Elon Musk's Twitter. Mark Zuckerberg apologized to Meta workers after sending an early morning email confirming thousands of job losses amid soaring costs and weak advertising. Well, I can speak to the weak advertising. It's true across the board. Many of you know I have an advertising agency. I'm not involved in the day-to-day much anymore, but I can just tell you, like, YouTube earnings, they're like half of what they should be, half of what they were last year at this time. This is supposed to be like the big time of year where advertising really goes up. Just not happening because companies don't have the money. And that's, I guess, part of building back better. Zuckerberg, 38, was said to have appeared gloomy on the call, and also said he was accountable for missteps made by Meta. Well, that's called good leadership. He's not supposed to be happy about firing all these people, especially if he actually understands that it's his fault. Now, this does not absolve him. Him having a human moment does not absolve him from all the meddling that I believe he has been a part of. Employees received the confirmation about the cuts in a company-wide email, which was sent at 6 a.m. this morning, with staff able to keep their email addresses for an extra day to, quote, say farewell. The CEO admitted that he got it wrong in the message, and he takes responsibility for the problems which caused him to make the cuts. It's the first time in Meta's 18-year history that they will actually be making major layoffs, which follow redundancies at other major tech companies, including Twitter and Microsoft. Redundancy, yeah. Taking a page out of this Twitter CEO Elon Musk's book, Zuckerberg sent the general early morning email to all employees letting them know the company had lost 2/3 of its value, which it has. He said no one on the online commerce returned to prior trends, but the macroeconomic downturn, increased competition, and ad signal loss have caused our revenue to be much lower than I'd expected. I got this wrong, and I take responsibility for that. He also said that the company was overstaffed because he was overly optimistic about the growth. Zuckerberg stressed that the company would shift resources to high-priority growth areas, such as its AI discovery engine, ads, and business platforms, as well as its metaverse project. I'm surprised he didn't say short-form videos. The lockdown boom that boosted tech companies and their valuations has turned into a bust this year in the faces of decades-high inflation and rapidly rising interest rates. As of the market opening this morning, the share prices had risen 5% today, with bigger increases expected. Well, because investors only care about profit margin, to lay off this many people, you're talking about a direct hit to you're reducing costs significantly. Meta said it would pay 16 weeks of base pay plus additional weeks for every year, plus 2 additional weeks for every year as severance. That is actually incredible. If you'd been there 5 years, you got 18 weeks plus 10 weeks. You got 28 weeks paid, 6-month severance. Employees will get the cost of healthcare for 6 months, and those impacted will receive their November 15th vesting, according to the company. That is a very friendly layoff. The company shares, which had lost more than 2/3 of their value, were up about 3% in pre-market trading. Zuckerberg said in October that he expected to end 2023 at roughly the same size, signaling that some jobs could be recouped following the layoffs. It's thought that Meta could launch another hiring drive next year, which focuses on Reality Labs' arm, the department which takes the lead on the metaverse. Meta recently forecast a weak holiday quarter and significantly more cost next year, wiping about $67 billion from the stock market value, adding to more than $500 billion in value it had already lost. Here's the thing. Facebook, I know a lot of like small businesses, like little restaurants and stuff like that around me seem to still use Facebook pages instead of websites, which is fine. I can't believe there isn't better options for that, but they use that. And that's about it. Like I use it for Messenger, and that's it. I rarely post, and it's like keeping in touch with family and posting pictures of dogs. Facebook groups, I don't know if that's an area that's still growing in Facebook. It was popular for a very long time, but all those groups became politicized and fractured and censorious. Then let's not forget all of the Facebook bannings. My quartering page on Facebook is clearly suppressed. Nobody sees it. I have thousands of people that follow the page. I'll post an article that'll get like 10 reads. And Facebook wants me to pay for people who have raised their hand and said they wanted to see my content, and I'm just not doing that. I'd rather people go to my locals page, where they can get whatever I want. They can see 100% of what I post for free, without having to dig through everything, and I don't have to pay extra money for people that want to see my stuff to see my stuff. I think there are a lot of businesses like that, which is exactly why advertising dollars are down. They basically forced businesses to pay money to have the people that have already raised their hands and said, I want this information, to actually see it. It was like extortion. It felt like that. Here's the email. Today, I'm sharing some of the most difficult changes we made in Meta's history. I've decided to reduce the size of our team by 13% and let more than 11,000 of our talented staff go. We are also taking a number of additional steps to become a leaner and more efficient company by cutting discretionary expending, and extending our hiring freeze through Q1. I want to take accountability for these decisions and how we got here, and I know this is tough for everyone, and I'm especially sorry for those impacted. Well, maybe you shouldn't have alienated half of the country and probably 2/3 of your user base, because Facebook certainly leans older. So hypothetically, back of the napkin, it probably leans more Republican, or at least moderate. And during the 2020 election cycle, Facebook went to war with its own users. People forget that. Like, I'm not shedding a tear. I mean, it sucks if you're an individual, especially if you're just like a developer or something like that. You had nothing to do with this. But like, I remember that. I remember when you were, called into Congress, when you were suppressing news, when you were, forcing people who were just having regular conversations about their own bodily autonomy off the platform, banning users for questioning the science TM, which was changing all the time, suppressing posts, deboosting, all the same stuff that they were doing on Twitter. So it's hard for me to really feel bad. There's no good way to do a layoff, but we hope to get all relevant information to you as quickly as possible and then do whatever we can to support you through this. Everyone will get an email soon letting you know if or what the layoff means for you. After that, every affected employee will have the opportunity to speak with someone to get their questions answered. We made the decision to remove access to most Meta systems for people leaving today, given the amount of access to sensitive information, but we're keeping email addresses active throughout the day so everyone can say farewell. Oh, isn't that nice? I probably would be sending a different kind of email. And I do think it's awfully like scummy for them to do the layoffs today. They did the layoffs today because they knew that everyone would be talking about the midterm elections. Like, I would be shocked if this video got the kind of attention it normally would, because everyone wants to talk about the midterms, and I don't have much to say about it. It's brutal. This is what you get. I hope that more big tech companies continue to suffer massive losses as a direct result of their censorious and partisan behavior. I don't feel bad for Meta. If Meta went away tomorrow, I wouldn't even care, because they played this game for too long. They were more worried about pleasing their Democrat overlords than they were in providing a good product. And now Zuckerberg's obsession with the metaverse may actually be their undoing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, please do click that subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.